Start. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I'm just reiterating one thing which I had talked earlier, right? Which is that, remember, whenever you are playing online, I think I had sent one thing about school chess tournament. Also, there was someone was organizing in India.
Yeah, so about that, where is the link?
I don't know. I mean, I just got it, so I forwarded it. So I think there was a link in that document. There was a PDF there. So if you download it,
Yes, sir. You have to type that thing out. You can't click it.
oh,
And you said you have to join the team. It's now I tried joining the team, but it's they still haven't accepted my request.
oh, is it?
Did you make the Google form?
Hmm?
Did you make the Google
What?
form?
What do you mean by
No,
that?
no,
There's a Google form link there.
yeah, they had said that first you have to enter your details in that Google form and then join.
Oh, I lost
Cool.
that
What
thing.
team?
So what I wanted to tell is that, see, online tournaments, currently a lot of things are happening. I talked to you about never ever cheating using an engine, right? Now, other players sometimes may happen. And it is very bad thing even if it happens. And we have seen that even grown-up people like Nikhil Kamath of Billionaire of India, and he's a tech billionaire, but he also cheated against Anand, and it's a disgrace, right? So we have said that nobody ever, please, never ever, anybody, never ever enable the engine in your tournament game. If
Sir, I don't even know how to equip the engine.
yeah, that is good. If you don't know, then it is okay, because you should know only when to analyze it. Let me complete Arav, and then I will give you the chance to ask your question. So I'm just reiterating, even and these school tournaments or online tournaments, they are especially notorious because someone or the other cheats, or many people, many students also, some from different parts somewhere, we don't know, right? I mean, how and from where. So that is why don't take these tournaments, online tournaments, school tournaments, very seriously, because till now we do not have a clear mechanism of preventing cheating. Okay, and hence you may feel frustrated sometimes that you are very honest, you are playing, but maybe your opponent, you may feel, you will come to know if your opponent is cheating, because he will play so strong moves that it is like a grandmaster playing against you, so you will not have any chance, right? So that may happen. Don't get disheartened, or if you feel disheartened, then don't join this tournament. I'm just forwarding it just for information. Okay, but I'm not telling you because I'm not part of any organizing thing or etc. And it is very difficult to prevent cheating in these tournaments, and hence I'm just telling you, first, you never ever get tempted to cheat, because lichess will ban your account, okay, if they detect it. Second is that if some other cheat also, it may happen that I cannot do anything, you cannot do anything. So do not get too much disheartened, and hence take all these online tournaments with a pinch of salt. Okay, what happens, especially when unknown people, like in our own group, we know and we know each other and everything, that is okay, right? But others, we don't know. So please ever just follow this. And now, okay,
So,
ask the questions. First, Arav had raised his hand. So I will get Arav. Arav.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, for my unit test, until now you haven't told me if I made any mistakes.
I will tell you. I will tell you. Sorry, I'm extremely sorry. I was going to give you last week itself, but then I had to travel for work last week, and that is why actually I could not do the
Okay,
class.
sir.
So I have done it mostly everything. I will send it to you tomorrow. Okay. And Aidan, your question.
so first one is so when you still haven't sent the unit test results, and second one is what is the on the chess. Advait said Advait. I saw Advait's account. He said that this account violated the leech's terms of service. What does that mean?
So there is some rules of leeches, like I was explaining, you may have violated, and if you violate it, then your account will get banned.
Yes, ma'am. So and also
That's
I
what I'm not going to tell anything more. Okay, so you know what I have said. I don't have to go and explain, and that is why I'm telling that nobody ever make any. Don't get tempted. Don't get any things. So just play fairly. It's okay if you win. It's okay if you lose also. So just follow the thing and try to improve your game. Okay. All right, all right. So fine. So fine. Today, what we are going to discuss. Okay, let me put it onto this mode, and I'll pin my video. Go into single mode. Put it here and start the recording so that. Okay. All right. So. Okay, so all right. So what will this one is today we are going to discuss. Let me start recording. Today we are going to discuss the third thing. Oh, I'm already recording. Huh? Okay, all right, cool. So today we are going to discuss the third dimension of chess, which is the space dimension. Okay, so we have looked at uh, force dimension, then we looked at time dimension, right? Force, time, and space. Now space is nothing but, that there is a chessboard and you start with equal amount of space for both the sides, and initially you are just having control over your own side, okay, and opponent has control over his side, okay, and then slowly as your battle rages and your pawns move, pieces move, etc., then the dynamics might change. Okay, so if you see the example that is there chess on the chessboard here, right? First example here, can you see this? It is, let me make it bigger. Yeah, can you see it? It is can you see what do you think, who has the space advantage here? Just think, matlab, whatever your intuition.
So
Black.
first one or
Black.
Okay, you think it is black has got the space advantage. Fine.
So first one or second one?
The
It's
first one on
equal,
the,
so it's equal.
So which one?
it is the first one on the left side here, top.
Okay, so
Okay.
So I think it's equal.
Yeah, okay. Some of you are thinking it is equal. Some of you are thinking it is white has got the advantage. Some of it is thinking it is black as the advantage. So the way we will define it so that we can actually count it and we can determine. Okay. So the simple thing is very simple. Okay. You count how many squares in your opponent's half that you control. How many squares in opponent's half that you control. Okay, that is a very simple definition. See, because you are anyway expected to control the squares in your half. Okay, in opponent's half, how many you control? Okay, now if you see here, then you will be able to see that. Let us go to this. Let us go to this. I'd mark it out. Okay, so I had marked out how many squares. All the green squares are the ones that white controls in black's half. Right? So I've just marked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And how many squares does black control on white's side? Actually, you can say that this actually is not controlled by black, because white is also contesting it. Controlling as in you should be able to have higher number of force on it than the opponent. Okay. So that is what it means. So actually even this square is not controlled by the black, because white and queen are protecting it, right? So but if you see the b4 square, that is in black's control, because black pawn is attacking it. There is no white thing attacking. Similarly, d4 square, pawn is attacking it, and white queen is there, but white queen will never be able to match the pawn, right? Because pawn will definitely kill the queen if you. So it is like a lower valued piece is controlling it. That means you have got it. So black is controlling b4, d4. Actually, not even e4 it is not controlling, because there is a white defense is there. But black is controlling g5 square because the knight is attacking it. Okay, but the white is
Sir,
not.
but then if black is controlling the G4 square, isn't the queen attacking it as well? The white queen?
Yeah, but in a battle, so if something happens, then it in equal battle, always the lower valued piece wins, because if queen goes there, knight will happily take it. But if knight goes there, right? I mean, with whatever. So who is the more valued piece? The more valued piece will not come into the battle on that. right? Because he will not want to get exchanged. So queen, will it want to get exchanged against knight? No,
No.
right? But knight will very happily want to get exchanged against the queen, right? So that is the reason. So with this, now I think if we control, now if you see here, how many squares does white control? White is controlling 1, 2, 3. This it is doubtful. This is doubtful. So actually, I mean, if you define, so there are many ways of defining. Right now what I have taken is where you have more firepower than your opponent. That is a very clear way of defining it. If that is the case,
Not even h6 is controlled by black.
no, h6 is not controlled because white is, bishop is also there, and h6 cannot
It also controls a4.
because it is in black's half only.
Sir,
Yeah.
doesn't white also control a4?
White controls a4, but it is in his own half, so you don't count it, right? You count how many you control in the opponent's half. So I'm just giving you, there are two ways of doing it. Either you count everything, right? Like earlier the position was there. See how the position, earlier what it was there, or now I have changed it and things. So whichever way you count it, you come to know. So here we will say that white is slightly ahead of black in terms of space, because white is controlling 4 squares in the black's half, black is controlling 3 squares in white's half. So very slight advantage for white in terms of space. Okay. Okay, but just advantage in space does not mean that you are going to win the game. It is just one of the factors, okay, which can give you. So in this position, white has got a slight advantage. If he leverages that, if he plays on that advantage, maybe he might be able to attack, right? And that is what we are going to see it now. So just as grabbing space by itself, you don't win the game, but it may enable you, because if you have more space, then your pieces have got more scope to move and you can create an attack out of it. Okay, so that is what is the space advantage for. So we are going to see some example. Okay, this is an example where can you see what is happening here? In fact, I will start with slightly simpler. This is a complicated example. Let us start with this simpler example. White to play. Okay, who do you think has, first of all, let us see who do you think has got the white advantage? Just, you don't have to necessarily count, you can count it, but visually also I think you will get an idea who is having the advantage.
White. White.
Looks like white.
Yeah, because white's 2 pawns are in black's camp and they are supported by white pawn. They are not like weak pawns, they are supported by white pawns, while black does not have any pawn in white's camp, right? So very clearly white has got the advantage now. And can you see a move that will give a white immediate this one?
Bishop into pawn.
No.
Queen H.
Queen
Queen H5.
Queen h5. Okay. Queen h5 will not be a thing because black will play g6. Okay, and then block the bishop also and attack the queen also. So queen will have to move back.
So is it bishop captures h7?
No.
Eh?
Bishop.
It is what it is for white.
What? Sorry.
Bishop takes h7.
Then queen takes h7.
Then queen will check. The king will go back, and white will do a rook left.
White will do a rook left, huh? Not so this one. Black will make way for the king. Black will play rook to e8 and then allow the king to come to f8 and then come to e7, or white might. So there are a lot of things. So beware before sacrifice. But there is a very beautiful move before that. White plays queen to b1. Now, can you see the idea behind this move?
Yes, sir.
What is the idea?
So he's attacking
Capturing
h7.
threatening the h7 pawn, and c1 h7 cap b7.
Double attack. Now h7 pawn you will have to defend it, right? So you will have to play h6. You will have to play h6, right? So
Sir, what if black plays queen to
F4. I mean H4.
Queen to H4, you can play it. You can play it queen to H4, no problem. I will take the pawn here and attack your bishop. Right? No matter, that's what. Whichever way you defend the pawn, one of the pawns only you can defend. You cannot defend both the pawns. And normally you will want to defend the pawn which is near the king. But then you are going to lose the, even if you play H6, then you are going to lose this pawn. And then now white has got almost winning advantage because he has got a passed pawn. Connected passed pawn, this is called. So it is passed on C5 and it is defended. Yeah.
Can you go one more back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if black is F5, so black will get a space advantage more and white bishop will be blocked.
No, I didn't understand what black
F5.
So
F5 en passant.
F5, then also white may take en passant. I don't know. I mean, white first of all has got this pawn for free anyway. Right?
sir, but the space advantage black has and the white bishop is blocked, so it will be equal to one pawn, right?
No, actually no. So that's what I mean. See, just space advantage. See, first thing is that still black does not have space advantage because still his pawns are just within his half. Only thing is that he has got control of the E4 square now, right? E4 square he has got a control, but it is not the only factor in chess. That's why I said space advantage is one of the factors we have to see. But here white is one pawn ahead and it's a passed pawn. It is much bigger advantage than any control of the E4 square. In fact, this bishop will now will be either going to A6 or B5 after rook comes here, and it will eliminate this black's bishop, and then the game will continue with the pawn moving to C6, C7 and about to queen. That is how the game will end actually after this. So actually so everything will get exchanged and white will get a queen, or black will have to prevent it by sacrificing his queen or a rook. Yeah.
So bishop, he can move to rook to
Fine.
If you want C6, no, the white one, if it's white's move, he moves when the queen was on B7. When the queen was on B7,
Okay.
yeah, that time if you move the pawn to C6, then the bishop can go to C7.
No, that is okay. Not C7, C8 it will go to. First of all, it is black's to move.
Oh, yeah, C8. Yes, C8.
But it's okay. It's not immediately white is not going to move it. First he is going to get his rook here and then he is going to move it. Okay. So white will make the preparation and then move it, not hurry into it. Okay. Fine. Okay. I will go to the next position. Yeah. This is a position. Okay. And why it is. White has got a big threat. Can you see what is the big threat white has got?
Bishop.
No, sir, the pawn on H6 very exposed.
So rook.
The black's king is
C1.
So the bishop to C6.
The pawn on H6.
No.
So rook to
Pawn-
A8.
Wait.
rook on A1.
I'm going to mute everybody because it is getting too noisy. Okay, just type your thing. So somebody was saying about rook. What was that rook? Rook to A1. Yeah, Arav, I think not rook A8. A1 to A8 is the threat actually. Rook A1 to A8 is a threat. Why? Because that rook will be attacking the queen. Queen does not have any square to go. Queen will have to exchange against the rook, right? Which is the real threat. So this is the threat. Now black to play. Okay. So who do you think first of all has got the advantage?
Sir,
Yeah.
but then if the
White
queen
has got.
kills the rook and then the queen, then white queen kills the black bishop, wouldn't the black be on lead because it would, oh yeah, the bishop.
No, you will be ending with black rook
uncle.
versus white queen. So it is white will become an advantage, and that is the threat So yeah.
Yes, sir. If the black kills the rook, the white bishop can kill the
Correct. Somebody else was asking a question. Was it Lakshmi?
Yeah, uncle, I think that white has more advantage
Yes.
because the queen can also move, but
Correct.
then the black queen cannot move. So
Correct.
that way.
So what happens? What does black play? So, but in this position, it is black to play. So black plays bishop to c8. Okay, offering the queen exchange. Now, because there is such a big space advantage, let us see how white is able to win the game. Okay. Now, can you see what is a winning move for white?
The exchange of queens.
You can exchange of queens.
Now he killed it with his rook. You get your rook to a8.
Rook to a8. Now you have pinned the bishop. And now what happens is either, no matter what, even if the because now what is the threat now? White's threat?
So
Every-
bishop to
To
b
capture the bishop.
bishop b7.
Bishop
is
b7.
a threat because you are attacking the pinned piece, you are poking the pinned piece, right? And then either you will have to give up the bishop or you will have to give up the rook. One of it you will have to give up. So black will take
If
the
you
bishop.
get your bishop to b7, then if the white bishop kills it, you exchange your rook, and then it will be a checkmate for black.
It is it will likely, so black will prevent it, but black is going to get into a losing game. So what does black do? Black plays here king to f8, okay, and white plays bishop to b7, which is the threat, and then take it, king comes up, okay, king comes up so that there is no checkmate, but then white goes here and finishes off. So no matter what black does, now this is very easy win for white, right? His passed pawn h6 is going to become a h6, h7, h8 is going to become a queen, right? After this, so what could have black done? Could he have done anything different in this position? See, there was also black could have
He could have
bishop to
he
f8.
could have traded the rooks like
Then this
so
is
that-
this is a Zugzwang. Bishop to f8. Then now bishop to b7 does not work, right? Because if you kill it, everything is then exchanged. So rook to f8 is a good defensive move, but white plays bishop to c6. Okay, not bishop to b7. Now it's a Zugzwang. Why it is a Zugzwang?
Because white black has to move the bishop into the in anywhere the bishop moves, the rook or the other bishop can kill it.
Either so the Zugzwang is because whatever move black makes, he is going to become on a.
डिनर में क्या है?
Sorry.
मम्मी वो बना दो. मुझे राज कचौड़ी खाना.
Okay, I have muted everyone. Now you only type it. Okay. So now the why it is Zugzwang is no move of black. Whatever move black makes, it will become, his position will become worse. He's going to lose it. If he moves the bishop, he's going to lose the bishop either on d7 or b7 or a6. Okay. If he moves the rook to, he cannot move the rook to e8. If he moves the rook to d8, then white bishop will go to b7 and either win an exchange. Right? So that is what will happen. If he moves the pawn, he will simply lose the pawn, whichever pawn he moves, either b pawn or f pawn. Right? Any other move he makes, there is no other move. So that is why it is in a Zugzwang. Right? Now, why did this happen? Because white exploited his space advantage and it was able to exploit, and the position was such. Right? So I'm just giving some examples. Okay? I'm giving some examples. So where we are, yeah. So just as bishops love diagonals in nothing, knights are able to dominate the opponent position if they get an outpost. Okay, this is called as an outpost. What is an outpost? It's a square in the opponent's camp which is occupied by the knight. Okay, and the knight can never be attacked by any opponent's pawn. If that happens, then it becomes an outpost. Okay, so here the white knight is in black's camp, is on e6, and no pawn. Black's pawn on d7 or f7 has already moved ahead. So the white knight can never be poked by a pawn. If that comes, then this becomes a very strong position for the knight. Okay, and I mean the position is such that see though the material is equal, but white has got a space advantage and a knight outpost. White wins this game very easily, unbelievably easily. You might think that it is going to become still a fight and all, but actually there is no fight. Okay, so white starts with b4. Why? He's going to open the line for his rook. So black takes it, white takes it. Now what is different? Now b7 was attacked, right? b7 was attacked. So white plays b6. Sorry, black plays b6. So the defense is there. But white plays queen to a4 now. It's a double attack, right? Double attack on the pawn on a6 also. So white goes to, king goes to c8. White queen takes it. King comes back to d7. We'll see this game again. Okay. Now queen goes to b7. Now the bishop on c7 is pinned. Okay, and there is a double attack. So white king has to make way to defend the bishop, right? Otherwise the bishop was going to fall. And now what will happen? Queen to c8. See how white is penetrating into the black's position. Queen to c8. White king will again come. Now he cannot come. What if now there is no way to defend, right? We'll see this back. We'll go back and see this. Now after this it is very easy. Checkmate, right? But let's go back. So white opened the position. Okay, fine. Netra, it's okay. So white opened the position. What black did not really have. So we'll start looking at this from this position. Okay. Do you think black can play anything better here? We'll just go through this game. B7 is threatened, and there is no way white is attacking it twice, and black is not even defending it once. So even if he moves one king to c8, etc., does not help, because queen comes to. So there is really no option. And then white comes this. Then what can black do? I mean, maybe you can look at trying to move the king to d8. Maybe that is what you will want to move to, rather than going to a6. You may want to move to king to d8 so that there is no check immediately. But even if there is no e7, okay, let's try e7. All right, e7. If you try, then the bishop is lost for free. It's a piece down. So that is why the king. Why does the king go to? No. King could not. Knight could not kill the bishop. See, original position, the bishop is defended by the king. Okay, so only after this now the king has to go to c8. Otherwise, the bishop falls. So, or you can play b5. If you play b5, then white will be very happy to take it. You take it, then queen takes it, right? Or even rook takes it. That is also okay, because you are threatening a discovered check. It is better maybe. Okay. Here, b5. Yeah, we saw that b5. So we have gone back. b5. If you play, then if you play b5, then c takes b5. Okay, before that also. Okay. Okay, this is the position after this. Now, okay, go ahead. Rohan, I will ask you to unmute. You can. Where are you? Yeah, I have allowed you to unmute.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Now if black plays b5, then
Oh, if black plays now b5, huh? You will be very happily take it,
oh yeah, it is here. Yeah.
right? Because you are opening the lines against the king, and queen and rook are going to penetrate, right? So that is why black tries to do this, but is not successful. And here after this, now that is a really, there is no this. So after this now black king is forced to go to e8. There is no other way he can defend the bishop on c7. But then white king comes here, and it is in fact checkmate. See how the knight is really, it is like a death trap for the black king and the other pieces. So they cannot go here. They cannot. It is interfering so much with the black's position, right? That is what happens with the knight outpost. Okay. Now there is one game which I have given it in the thing detailed here. You check it yourself. Okay, this is, and I have also covered it in the video of the previous series. I will send you that video link. It is there in my playlist on YouTube. But this is a very instructive game played by Capablanca. Capablanca, as you know, was a fourth world champion and very natural plant, genius player, right? And he was especially strong in the end game. So in this position that is there on the board, the second position here, he played a superb end game to defeat black. So white is having space advantage, but how to utilize it, right? So you can look at this example to understand how white utilizes the space advantage slowly and slowly. Okay, so this is the tough part. It is not obvious how you will be able to win it, but slowly and slowly white makes progress and strangles black. So slowly black gets outplayed. No, I don't think you have to, this week I don't think you have to join back because there were only 6 positions. I have covered 4 of them, so it's okay, fine. So there is this last one is the example of how to use again the space advantage. Again, you can go through this. Okay, you can go through this. It's fairly easy to understand, and you can see it yourself. Then there are 2 homework positions. Okay, 2 homework positions. You can give me answers. You can analyze this and give me answers. What do you think is the best move? Where white will do, and what, I mean, I have given the position and the question. Okay. First question I have asked, what should white do? Second question, I have asked black's turn, and where if black plays bishop to e6, is it a good move for black? You have to analyze it and tell. Okay. Fine. So I think that is that for this week. I don't think I have, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and I will check. Okay, if no questions, then okay, Aidan, go ahead, and in fact, okay, now I have allowed everybody to unmute. So one by one you go, Aidan, you go.
So you told me I could show that thing which I wanted to show.
You want to show it? Then I will allow participants to share the screen. What do you want to show?
It's a website called Prettier Leeches, which you can use for leeches if you want. If you want, I'm not forcing you.
Well, okay, what is that site? Okay, I have allowed you to share the screen. I will stop sharing, and I will stop recording so that.
So you go